Hello there, MegaMogwai here, coming at you with another Legends of Runeterra video for you guys. Today, I just came out of the shower and it feels great. It's been a while. I'm not gonna dive deeper into that. I promise I do keep up with the standard expectations of personal hygiene, though maybe I do slip up every now and then. I don't even know why I'm sharing this. Regardless, I'm very excited to make today's video because in a way it's kind of like a bit of a closure to this 3-part sort of like rambling series that we've been having on the channel. The first video was a pretty dark sort of reaction, dark themed, I guess is the way to express it, I'm not sure, to the most recent balance patch, which I think was honestly it deserved. Like it was my genuine feelings regarding the patch, especially after having it so, you know, it was like a very emotional sort of response as well, because I had just like opened them up, right? Then we had a more cold-blooded, level-headed, mind-cooled discussion. I don't know how to, my English is terrible in these when I'm using these expressions, but you know, we had a more chill discussion about it in the Progress Day podcast, which has returned. I do want to make it a bi-weekly thing. I think if I make Progress Day happen once every 2 weeks, I can actually stick to it, because there was one comment that I read of like somebody saying that it's harder to commit to a podcast series if it's not a regular thing and it's very chaotic. And I understand the sentiment, you know, like I can't just expect people to follow the podcast if I just upload it whenever I want, you know? I feel like some sort of structure and schedule with it would be appropriate. I can be a bit more professional about it. And I do think, considering the reception and the general interest, I do feel like it's something that I can do, like I said, once every 2 weeks. And that's a realistic approach at it, and I could keep it going in that sense. And I'll be looking at also like the lineup that I want to have as well, because I'm looking to expand it, go beyond 3 people, maybe like 4 or 5. You know, I've seen a lot of very cool suggestions. A lot of you guys want to see Swim in it. I'm in the talks with him as of right now, though it's a bit of a slow conversation because he's currently away. And I also even thought about adding Alan Z onto the mix as well. I don't know how you guys would feel about that. I think it would add a lot to the podcast as well. So let me know what you guys think and who you would like to see in it. Maybe I'll have some recurring, maybe like some guests as well. So yeah, I'll be looking into that. So yeah, so let's actually talk about this Reddit post made by Dovagetis, who, in case you guys don't know, is, I believe, the gameplay, the live gameplay lead. I'm not sure exactly what his role is, but he's the one that's been communicating with us regarding Riot's stance on the current metagame, and he was the author of, you know, the big chunk of text before the balance changes and in the balance in the patch notes. And yeah, he said a lot of controversial things. He's had some weird comments. I even tweeted about one yesterday that I found really concerning, about him replying to a Reddit post saying that they don't want to do these minor buffs, but it seems like he's pulled a 180. I'm not going to spend time talking about that, like trying to criticize the sudden massive change in opinion. I don't feel that is productive. I think as long as, you know, things happen, I'm not going to go around and be like, well, you said this yesterday, why did you change your mind so quickly? I just don't think that helps. I think that's just kind of like toxic behavior that doesn't really amount to anything. So I have a pretty positive outlook for today's video, because this message, honestly, I woke up to it and it made me feel hopeful for the future of the game, which is something that I wasn't perhaps as, you know, definitely something that I was not feeling the day of the balance patch. And yeah, so let's actually start reading and see what they have to say here. So the title is "We Hear You." I'm recording, right? Just making sure. We hear you. Updates to live cards and the future. Hi everyone, Dovagetis here with some news on card updates in Legends of Runeterra. TLDR, more updates are coming in patch 2.11. That means 2 patches from now, which I would assume is 1 month from now. Because again, in case you guys don't know, balance patches only happen every 2 patches, right? So sucks to know that we got a month of this, but it was to be expected, right? We know there has been a lot of conversation recently on the topic of live design updates, and folks are less than satisfied. Yeah, I like the dots. Less than satisfied with the changes patch 2.9. With the changes in patch 2.9. First off, in patch 2.11, alongside the release of our next expansion, Rise of the Underworld, we will be releasing a large batch of card updates, including updates to both older champions and non-champion cards. This is very, very exciting already. Let's keep reading. Second, we're going to be spending time re-evaluating our current live design philosophy and plans for the future. We don't have any specific details at this time on exact balance change or balance cadence, English. But we know this issue is important and we will communicate our new plan once it's finalized. I find this very, I'm very positive about this. Like the fact that they said that they're going to actually talk with each other and reevaluate their live design philosophy means they are open to changing their mindset regarding lowering the amount of changes. I do believe that our voices have had an impact, and I want to make use of this video to, in a way, maybe not the most mature thing to do, but I want to take the Timmies of Reddit who are constantly posting about how they hate, Mogwai is whining all the time. And not just me, like anybody who complains, people are complaining all the time and this and that. Well, guess what? We got shit to change because of our whining. It's better to whine, as annoying as that can be, than to just sit back and be false positive Andy and just be like, this is fantastic. Azir, really a 60% win rate and like 75% meta. I love it because Riot is great and they never make mistakes and this game is fantastic and anybody who criticizes it wants it to fail and I hate them for it. Like seriously, you are a big problem. Your attitude is a big problem. And everybody who voiced their opinions on Reddit, everybody who whined and complained about the meta, good for you. Good for you. You got heard. That's how you make changes. That's how we don't fucking cry about these things for the sake of crying. We are very vocal and voice our opinions on this because we care. Get that in your head. We care. And this is the result of that. So everybody, everybody who made a post on Reddit, everybody who just, tweeted about it and everything, pat yourself in the back. You contributed to it. Like enough of this shaming people for calling things out for what they are. God fucking damn it. Before we get into it, I think it's very important to call out that we thrive on the feedback we get from all of you. Our plans and actions change constantly due to the feedback we see from the community. I love this phrase. Sometimes it takes time for those changes to be realized in balance patches. We have one of the most amazing communities I've ever seen in gaming, and I think we should all work hard to protect the special community we have built together. Now, I'm not going to deny that obviously there are some PR elements to this message. You can't just assume that some people at Riot have not been annoyed by people, especially because some of us can be perhaps a little bit more harsh with our criticism, right? And naturally, some people get pissed off, and stubbornness is also a thing. This hasn't been like a smooth transition in a way, but sometimes you gotta be harsh. Sometimes you gotta dig deep, and sometimes you gotta butt heads in order for things to happen. And what matters, it doesn't matter what the actual true sentiment behind the person writing is. What matters is what they're writing. If that makes, that should make sense, right? Just want to clarify that. Like, I'm not saying this is all sunshine and rainbows and we're all holding hands. It's fantastic and we're all friends all along. It's never that black or white. It's always gray. But keep in mind that what matters is the message being delivered here. We want you all to know that the reduced number of live design changes over the last few months has been primarily due to our team being focused on making awesome things for the future. This is a good scapegoat, but I don't think this is entirely true. Like there have been, this man has had some statements that are a bit contradictory, but again, it's unproductive to focus on that. I don't care. I'm not going to call anybody out. I'm not going to waste time rather, just be like, no, but you said this and that. I'm not here to shame anybody. I'm not here to put anybody down. I just want this game to be the best game it can be. That is all I care about. I don't fucking care about egos, man. I do not. I want the game to be better. Anything else is irrelevant to me. All right? So, yeah, maybe it's not the most, like, you know, genuine thing to say, but who gives a shit, right? What matters is that they're like I said, they're saying that they are going to provide more card updates coming in the next patch, a large batch of card updates, including older champions and non-champion cards. That's what we should focus on. For example, the next champion expansion is scheduled for July on our roadmap, will launch very soon after the Rise of the Underworlds expansion. Very exciting to hear. And many of the same designers who work on game health have been working on that champion expansion. I mean, if Ruben is in the design here, that gets me extremely excited because, like I've said numerous times, I think Ruben Zhu it's such a blessing to have him as the live design lead in this game. He is the responsible for so many amazing balance changes that have just made the game better. And to hear that he's potentially designing cards is just glorious. Absolutely glorious. I've never had anything really bad to say about Ruben Zhu. Like, I think he's a very intelligent guy. He knows he's super good at his job, and he's just great. He's great for Legends of Runeterra. There are also new things coming that I won't go into detail on just yet. You can expect another roadmap with more detail coming in late July. We slipped into a pattern of being focused in the future and deprioritizing the present. We made a mistake, and we hear you. Cool. We know that players want to see more balance changes as we move forward, so we're taking that feedback to heart. Our team is reevaluating live design cadence and the scope of the changes that we're willing to make in order to make that possible. Again, at the end of the day, these are all just words. We have to wait until we see actual actions. But it's very reassuring to read this, and it just goes to show that at the very least, we can expect some sort of change in the future, and that is just, for a digital card game like Legends of Runeterra, its biggest strength, in my opinion, was the ongoing balance changes, and that would just basically re-spice things up and allow people to experiment with older cards that got forgotten. I think that's just a phenomenal way to keep things fresh, and it was the best card game at doing that as well. So I'm so hopeful for that coming back. It's crazy. Like it makes me like, yeah, we have a bit of a rough month ahead, but I'll do my best to spice it up. I have some deck ideas, and I'll also be showing some lab content. Don't worry, like the daily content is not going anywhere. Like you could say that this message right here, in a way, saved the daily content on this channel. It's that impactful to me personally. On Blade Dance, power, fun, and frustration. Regarding Blade Dance specifically, we've seen strong feedback on how frustrating it is to play around the mechanic and felt dissonance with the team when patch 2.9 released without significant nerfs to the archetype. To clarify our stance, we know that there's a healthy tension between a deck's ability to win, deck popularity, and how fun a deck is to play, and how frustrating it is to play against. We want Blade Dance to sit in the middle of all those factors, where it has the ability to win, as any well-refined deck should, but where it's not winning by an unhealthy amount. It's fun to play, but also not too frustrating to play against. It can have a sharp feeling when playing against it, especially when it has a particularly strong curve. Right now, Blade Dance is extremely popular, and decks being popular is a good thing. I disagree. He keeps falling on this take. No. Decks being popular is not always a good thing. Sometimes a deck is popular because it is unbelievably busted. It wins games and people like winning. That doesn't mean it's a good thing. Like, this is not, I don't like this. He keeps falling back on this, but hey, whatever. But when a small number of decks are overly popular, it can accelerate the feeling of a stalemate for a number of players. I mean, it accelerates it, but the reason why they're overly popular is because it's just not a good thing, right? Like, this is why I go back to this. Like, this is not, like, there are many different reasons for decks being popular, you know? So it's important to keep that in mind. It's also too powerful. We want to maintain its popularity while hitting some of the most problematic aspects of the deck, so we're keeping a close eye on it for our 2.11 changes. Understanding what elements make a deck popular is extremely important because it helps us create future content that's fun to play while learning to avoid negative play pattern. Hey, like I said, it's easy to point out at this point how Blade Dance, as a mechanic, you can argue it was a mistake. But it's been implemented. It's part of the game now. I don't think it's going to break the game, but it is going to have some limitations on future design. The most important thing to take from this is to learn from this mistake. It's like, okay, this mechanic is problematic. Let's try to avoid stuff like this in the future. And as long as they keep that in mind, that's good. All right. So where was I? Okay. The really great thing about Lore's format, though, is that we're not just restricted to new sets and expansions. We can always go back and apply these same learnings to existing archetypes, and that's what we're doing now. All right. Organic metagame development versus keeping things fresh. Keep in mind, we still value allowing metagames to evolve and change over time without direct live design updates. We think that's something special about our genre and rewards exploration and innovation, and there will be times when the metagame is diverse, even when we might have a few patches without card updates. I'm not saying that live updates are absolutely necessary every single time. Like, you can argue that for me, the best metagame the game had was before Targon and before the Anivia buff. Even though a lot of those buffs led to some really good things, I think the best meta we had was a little bit after Village Water was released. I think that metagame, that mid-range meta was the golden era. And honestly, the game would have been fine going on for a while without changes. Like, that meta was so good. People say that I complain every metagame, and that's just not fucking true at all. Like, if you go back, there's even a Progress Day episode talking about that meta, which I'm talking with Swim and be like, this metagame, can things just stay like this forever? And then we laugh because it's like, yeah, it seems like it's going to go downhill from here, and we kind of jinxed it. But, the meta can be at that point, and sometimes they can go further without live design changes, and the meta is so balanced and so great, and I think mid-range metas are the best. I think mid-range metas are the ideal scenario for this. I think any meta in which fast-paced decks or control are at the top is problematic, which is why we're in such a bad situation now, because we have a Zero Aurelia as a turbo deck, and we have TLC, Trundle Lysander Control, as a premier control deck that just shuts down other control decks, but also makes the game potentially revolve around it, which is horrible. Arguably worse than a Zero Aurelia in a way, though not exactly, because it is you can't actually potentially counter TLC with certain mid-range designs, right? But nonetheless, aggro and control metas, caca. Bad. Mid-range metas, good. Very good. My opinion, I believe this to be a fact, but you can argue about it, I guess. Regardless, if we have a meta like that, then maybe there's no need for so many, though I still would argue for, some buffs, some small buffs here and there for cards that are not seeing play. I don't think there's any damage in that, and I love it. And I really, really hope they prove, they back up this statement with actions. That's what I'm hoping for here. The answer may not always be live design. It could be a new expansion or just time to discover new impactful decks, but live card updates can be a powerful tool to help when necessary to keep the game feeling fresh and exciting. Thank you to everyone that has given us feedback in a positive and healthy way. We hear you. maybe this doesn't include me. I can be a bit harsh sometimes, especially on Twitter, because I have only so many letters that I can work with, right? I don't feel like I've been toxic with my feedback, though. I think, especially in my videos, I think I've been fair. Maybe a bit harsh, but I think I've been fair. But there are others who have been more positive and healthy, for sure. We hear you loud and clear, and we're making changes. Thanks for helping to keep our amazing community special and healthy. Heart Dovagetis. All right, so I don't know. I have to read everything there. Regardless, yeah, great stuff. If they back this up with actual, changes and good patches and everything, this is phenomenal. This made me feel hope. And I wasn't sure we were going to get there, especially after a post that I saw from the same man yesterday that somebody, Kavira, shared on Twitter. Because, he kind, in a way, he said the opposite. But like I said, people change their minds. It's also not just him. It's an entire team, and they probably debate within each other, and they reach this conclusion, and I think it's phenomenal. I think this is exactly what we needed to hear. I'm going to give it a plus, and this is me right now. Like, this is my reaction. Bravo. That was like loud as hell. Oh my god, I went deaf. Regardless, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Again, excited for the future. We're gonna have a bit of a rough month ahead, but I think I'm gonna make use of this month to try out some other things. I may return to streaming, and if I do, I'm actually going to be streaming variety. I may just stream just like talking with. I'm gonna experiment with that a little bit. Just hanging out with you guys, just chatting and watching videos, reacting to all sorts of weird shit, and just having fun. Like I never tried that streaming style, and I want to explore other aspects of content creation because I've been very rigid with my approach up until now. So I feel like it could do me some good. It helped me break away from the burnout as well, and also like I still want to keep the daily uploads going though, and I will. So that we can get ready for the end of June, in which we will have a brand new expansion, which is going to feature the Piltover. I'm hoping for Echo. I would love to. I love Echo as a character, so I would love to see that. And very excited for that. And maybe some stuff that will make Talia better and Zillion good and stuff. One can hope. Things that are not fucking Merciless Hunter. So yeah, this made me feel, like I said, very optimistic. And I think it was important for me to share with you guys because, especially considering how my overall mood was with the video that I uploaded a couple of days back. So let me know what you guys think about this statement. If there's anything you guys want to add to the conversation, as always, I read every single one of my comments. So if there's anything you want to say, then feel free to do so. And yeah, let me know what you think about the idea of streaming in that sense. And yeah, love ya. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for daily Legends of Runeterra content. I'll see you guys tomorrow.